Neighborhood Watch 3. I love my neighborhood. Cheap rent, pretty quiet most of the time, parties on Sundays with mariachi music, chickens milling around in driveways. Most of my neighbors don't speak the same language as me, which makes this place an introvert's paradise. My one complaint, until recently, was this gang that operated out of the apartment building next to mine. One time they shot a woman who bled all over my car before the medics arrived, so I was not a big fan of their work. Still, when the landlord foreclosed on their place, I was sad to see them go, because I knew once they were gone, it was only a matter of time until the aliens showed up. See, the aliens had been moving in on my block for a long time. On the outskirts of my neighborhood, past the food trucks, the pawn shops, the payday loans, you hit a point where all the houses look the same. All of them are about 3 minutes old, all gray, garish, and gigantic, all with tiny dogs inside them barking madly at any passerby. You might know these structures as McMansions or Hummer houses or garage mahalls, but that's not what they are. They're camouflaged spaceships on the front lines of the invasion. And I bet some of you are saying, wait, are you implying every person who lives in McMansion is actually an extraterrestrial life form? I'm not implying it. I'm outright saying it. They're fucking aliens. I've seen them up close now. One of their ships moved in where the gang used to be. Before then, I'd spent a lot of time near these vessels, but this was my first time living next to one. Walking past it every day, really getting to take in the visual malaise. Medieval torches, fake Venetian balcony, palm trees, pointless columns, garage that looks like a drawbridge, a wall that's nothing but different kinds of windows, a wall that's nothing but blank space, a super phallic fountain sticking up like a giant middle finger to the property brothers, a bulldog in the yard that never moves, and through the foyer window, an obscenely large flat-screen TV that only ever plays NCIS and The Big Bang Theory, as if to say, see? We are normal humans. Look at the shows we watch. They're the most popular shows for normal humans, which is what we are. Bazinga. I used to think these houses were so fuck ugly because the aliens fundamentally don't understand humans. But staring at this Frankenhouse all day, I started to think maybe it's not a failed attempt at human architecture. Maybe it's a successful attempt to destroy the whole concept of human architecture, because that's what it does. By incorporating a little bit of everything, this house successfully becomes nothing. A void with a gray brick facade, and every time I walked past it, I knew my neighborhood a little less. This, I now realized, was phase 1 of the invasion strategy. Purge the invasion site of all humanity one lot at a time. Slowly chip away at the human sense of connection and belonging to their own neighborhood. And I bet some of you are thinking, this seems a little convoluted as far as alien invasions go. Why wouldn't they just blow up the White House with that death ray from Independence Day? Well, consider this. Any alien that tried to pull an Independence Day on us would be playing to our greatest strength as a species. Humans love war. We've been practicing war from the jump. A White House destroying ray gun is probably the one thing left in this world that could unite us. So if I'm an alien trying to get the drop on humanity, I don't challenge us to war. I challenge us to peace, because that's our kryptonite. I move in right next to humans and dare them to peacefully coexist with me, even as I slowly erase them. The invasion on my street is slow going, but they took the street a few blocks down from mine with alarming speed. A part of my nightly walk that used to be full of folk art and South Asian dudes playing cricket in the park slowly turned into a little slice of Orange County. I didn't exactly notice it at first, and then one evening I was being barked at on all sides by toy poodles, Pomeranians, and Italian greyhounds making murder eyes at me through dormer windows. And even though I was less than a mile from where I lived, I felt like I shouldn't be there. This, I realized, is the end game of the invasion. What the aliens ultimately want is to make you think you are the alien, to make us all feel like squatters in our own homes and trespassers on our own streets, so that once they've hiked our rent into the stratosphere and our landlords say it's time for you to leave, we won't fight them on it. We'll just look around at a place we barely recognize and think, well, they finally caught us. And even though I know what they're doing, it still gets to me sometimes. Because even though I live in a 400 square foot studio where everything breaks and I've never been late on my rent in 4 years, I still feel like a freeloader. Like fucking Goldilocks, getting it all in while I can before the real rightful owners of this place come back and chase me off. I have to hand it to those aliens. Well played. I don't know for sure that there's less mariachi music in my neighborhood than there was when I moved in. It's not like I was keeping track, but it feels that way. It feels like there are more toy-sized dogs and less chickens. My rent creeps up, and I know that sooner or later my landlord's going to look at me and say, "What are you still doing here?" I spent a lot of time thinking about my little alien theory because, grim as it is, it's still better than the reality that, of course, there are no aliens, just a powerful human instinct for alienation. But there are moments where the alienation of my block subsides a little, like during the election. I don't speak much Spanish, but all through election week, I kept hearing my neighbors say naranja pendejo. So I knew that we were all watching the same news, all biting our nails together. And then on Saturday morning, I woke up to cheering and mariachi music blasting, and I knew it was all over. I went on a long walk that night, and even when I got to McMansionville, I felt fine. No matter where I walked, I was never out of earshot of that music.